Welcome back, everybody. My name is Dragagon, and this is GregTech New Horizons. So, in the last video, I left off by saying I was going to create a new list, which I started a small little new list. And then I took the time to go out and mine up 12 stacks of clay. And then I also got and processed enough for 2 stacks each of calcite and gypsum. Both of those are going to be necessary in order to make the concrete and the fire brick that turns into fire blocks. And there's enough there in order to make all 64 blocks that we need in order to complete both of these quests here under multi-block goals. This first one only needs 24, and then we make a brick blast furnace out of it. And then after we get a full stack of steel, we can then do this one, which if we click here, we can then see we need to make 4 stacks of steel, and we need to make 40 fire bricks and 2 bricked blast furnaces. So I went ahead and I got all the parts together for 64 fire bricks, which is everything we need. And then I will just, do what I can in order to get that stuff along. I've also been accepting quest rewards. So a couple of these I've finished grabbing all the quest rewards from them. Some of them I haven't started touching yet, just because I just haven't gotten that far. I have been saving up any bags that I've got. 1 IC2 crop bags, several Stone Age, and several Steam Age. I may open them up. Again, I wanted you guys to tell me what you think, if I should open them or if I should just kind of hang on to them and do like a loot bag day. It'll probably be a little while before I get a fortune book that I could then use in order to fortune them, in order to upgrade them to their better parts. But in any case, I have this here. 12 furnaces that I was making. The whole reason behind that is so that I could then take those 12 furnaces along with those iron plates that I did. I don't have a whole lot of iron left. I went through over a stack to make that I needed. And then all I need is, I think it's the wrench. Let's see here. We'll just click this. Yeah, it's a wrench. So... oops, grab my wrench here. Or not. Where is my wrench? Maybe I put it away. There it is. And so here we go with the wrench. I'm making 12 of these because that's how many you need to make 3 more of these brick blast furnaces. But the big reason for making all of them is so that I could grab my buckets, which I know are in here. Pardon the noise. And I was going to come out here. I'm not sure how much pollution the bricked blast furnace generates. I think it might be 200 a second. So that's pretty powerful. So I figured I would come out here, and rather than add to that one, I just add to the adjacent one. And as you know, it'll probably just make matters worse. But, there we go. So there we go. There's all 12 of those. I'll break them down and use them to craft the controllers once it's done. And there's the whispering again. But what I figured I would do is I could then grab this, actually make use of this creosote oil, or creosote. I don't know that it's an oil. I think it's just called creosote. But anyway, make use of that in order to help our smelting. And then what I have going on in this one is making all of those bricks. So here we go. There's all of that. There is 12 stacks there, and there are 12 furnace there. So I just figured I would load them all up, each with a stack, and let them just go on their merry little way, crafting as many as they can. Like so. And then what we can do is we can grab the buckets. I should have grabbed them while I was putting stuff in, but whatever. And then we'll do another 5 there. And then I only need 2 more. 1, 2. So there we go. And then this one. There and there. There we are. So that is all taken care of. The other thing I was looking at doing was going ahead and coming down here and going with coins, 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 and spending the 10 coins in order to get 2 Enderman spawn eggs. I don't care so much about making them, you know, name tagging them and having them, you know, having them live in there and just forever giving me the ender, I forget what the liquid ender, maybe it's just liquid ender, and just use them this way. It does use up some of the coins. I don't usually end up spending many of my coins, so it's kind of, I don't know, it's I don't want to say pointless, but yeah, it's not something I do a whole lot. But what I do want to do is figure out where I put, oh, I know where I put it. My aluminum is all the way over here. So what I was thinking about doing was taking some of the aluminum sand that I have, melting it down in the smelter, because I'm going to need to in order to make alumite anyway. But in the meantime, I can use that to basically have that in there so that it harms the Enderman and gets me their liquid ender. And that way we can make some of the gems that it needs for this quest that is up here. Sorry, I'm half losing my train of thought. Where is it? One of these, oh, it's under the GT multi-block quest right there, obtaining ender pearls. So yeah, I can then go ahead and make a pan cast, make the cast itself, and then get some ender pearls as well. But you got to start somewhere, so we may as well start with a little bit of this. And then I can toss in a little bit of steel and obsidian later and turn it into alumite, and then we can make use of the alumite before we end up going to the nether. I'd rather have the alumite tools beforehand rather than after the fact. So there are those things getting smelted up nicely. I may need to go run down there and get some more fuel. I may need to like break this guy off and go downstairs and well, actually it's over by the lava marker, and just gather up a whole nother tank of it, because I don't really have an alternative tank. I do not believe, there is a quest, but I don't believe that tank works that way. Right here we have the GT tank ULV version. It does take 1 piece of steel along with the iron plates and tin plates, and then a clay fluid pipe. I don't think that thing can be moved around with fluid in it, but it's something that we could definitely check out. And then if it does, I can just load it up with 32 buckets of lava and then bring it up here and have it sit right here, and that way we've got pretty much a permanent source of it. But anyway, enough about that. There, the smeltery, I put in this little hole. I covered it with half slabs so that mobs can't spawn on top of it, and I just figured I could come up here like this, and we could do this. And he can just melt in there. And let's give him a friend. So there we go. We can kind of see them in there through the tank. So that's kind of neat. They can't come after us. They can't warp out of there. So they'll just sit in there and die like that. That one will take a little while longer though. I forget. He was nice. He had a lot of health. I don't think he had regen, but at least he had a lot of health. So yeah, I can take some time, get a pan cast made, and then we can look at casting out some ender pearls, and that way we've got some ender pearls on hand for doing other things that we need to do. So yeah, the only other thing I have is I was making some iron nuggets so that I could pop them into the furnace. They can cook down into wrought iron and then combine them in the compressor there, and that will complete another quest right here, better than iron. and once we complete better than iron, it'll unlock a few other upgraded boilers and stuff. So yeah, we will get started along those lines, and then we can have fun that way. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it. I'm going to wait on those bricks being smelted and then crush them down with the forge hammer and then combine them. That'll also mean that I need to macerate a bunch more clay in order to finish out these clay dusts. I think I need a third stack of the clay dust, but yeah, that'll be moving us right along. And then once I'm a bit closer to having a full stack of steel, I'll probably set up the second EBF and then get it going with some steel, and that way we can have more than a stack done so that we can then make the flint and steel. So I'll bring you guys back here when we are set up and ready to maybe make a few more tool parts in order to get to the nether. See you in a bit. Well, we're back, and as you can see in my inventory is a stack of steel ingots. With that done, that does mean that over here in the multi-block goals, the 2x steel is complete, which is awesome. Out of these three options, I think I'm going to go with the rubber bar, simply because it means that I should be able to flatten them into some rubber plates, and then those rubber plates I can use for a couple of things before I go into the nether, where I'll be getting the sulfur in order to make even more rubber. So I think I'm going to go with those, with the rubber bars. Go ahead and claim those. And then that has unlocked our steel, or this the 4x steel quest. I'm gonna wait on getting the 4 stacks of steel. That's just kind of an eventual thing that will happen, but what we can do is we can come over here and take out the 40 fire bricks that I made from earlier, get that part of the quest complete, and then we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I'm going to have to rip down the other 8 iron furnaces that I have over there that we're running. In the meantime, I did make the steel tools, so I upgraded my rapier, the shovel, a hatchet, and a pickaxe. I remade, so what I did was, because of how much I had upgraded my previous flint pickaxe, this thing has 7 modifiers on it. So what I'm thinking about doing is going ahead and upgrading that thing to be the reinforced 10. That way it becomes unbreakable. And then what I can do from there is then I can run around and mine up a bunch of stuff. I was also trying to get the mining XP up far enough so that it changes from redstone to obsidian. Once it's in the obsidian tier, then I can go mine some obsidian, and I can complete these couple of quests up here in Steam, the alumite and the reinforced. That's pretty much what I have to do before I can actually get the reinforced plates, which will then add to the thing. This thing says it's almost never worth it aside from lumber axes. I don't feel that way. I always like to have at least one pickaxe that is fully unbreakable, because you're going to go to lots of planets. You're going to be digging through all of the crud, all the ground that's up there. I was trying to think of what the actual word for the ground is when it's not on an oxygen planet. Anyway, doesn't really matter. And you're going to be digging through the nether. You're going to be digging all over the place. So I actually prefer to have an unbreakable pickaxe that I can just drill through stuff and not have to worry about it breaking. And then when I get to a field of ores that I need, it'll help with mining some of the ores, and then having a backup pickaxe that'll do things like either have lucky or silky or something along those lines on them. That way I can then get the loot that I want, but still have something that'll just dig for days on end, and I'll run out of hunger before I'll run out of durability on them. So that's the idea there. I chose that one specifically because I was using it to dig up all of the cobble and the easier ores. It's got 7 modifiers on there, so I'm perfectly fine with then upgrading that even further in that regard. So with that done, I can almost check off this one. Basically, I'm trying to do everything I can before going to the nether. I'm just really trying to get myself set up and prepared. It probably means I'm going to start getting around without dying. You know, make my shield, my spears, and the other thing that I wanted with this right here is to make these rubber sheets in order to get the those the piston boots. So I have step assist, especially in the nether where I'm gonna be walking up and down a lot of steps, basically because I put tunnels at like 120 and I think it's 70 and like 40 or maybe 30, just so that I can get all the ores. And speaking of ores, I found this was pretty interesting. If you look up an ore, so let's just say iron ore, and you click on it, and it'll tell you, you know, where you can get that stuff. So overworld, nether, etc. Well, one of the things that I think is pretty cool is that I can right click on that and I can see all the different ores that come from the overworld. So we've got a diamond ore vein. I've got one of those. I have 2 lapis veins. I do not have a vermiculite vein. That's kind of a copper tin mix of stuff that only occurs at high heights. So I'm not too worried about that one. Then we have an oil sands. I would love to find an oil sands vein. We also have coal vein, which I have, a manganese vein, which I have, redstone vein I have, mica vein I have, dolomite vein is another one of those extremely high stuff, but it's got wollastonite in there, which I believe is a tungsten ore. So that's pretty cool that you can possibly find tungsten somewhere in one of the really high zones in order to get some of those. Copper vein I have plenty of. Soapstone vein, I think I found 2. I've got at least 2 gold veins, at least 2 kaolinite veins. I've got 2 iron veins. I have not found a lignite vein, but I've got a coal vein, so I'm not terribly worried about finding a lignite vein. I found 1 apatite vein. I found a few mineral sands veins. We don't have any just plain magnetite vein. Instead, it's just the gold vein is the same thing. It's just that one of these things is moved around by gold instead. Garnet tin I have, and then a salt vein I do not have, and then a cassiterite vein is another one of those tall ones that I don't have. So there's a couple of veins of ore that I am still missing, that I can go around and find. Not that I necessarily need them now or soon, but they do exist. So I think it was pretty cool that they added that in there so that I can then go in here and I can even do stuff like I can right click on the nether and then I can see all the nether veins that I should be keeping an eye out for, and then you see where the heights are. So I guess maybe it's not 40, it's 20 that I look for the sulfur veins. Same thing for the molybdenum vein. Don't necessarily need one of those for a long time yet, but they're there. Again, wolfenite, I believe that's another tungsten style. No, that's not tungsten. That's lead. What else is that? That is... What is that? Come on, I want to see how to centrifuge it. There it is. Lead, molybdenum, and oxygen. Okay, so not terribly important, but, you know, it lets us see all of that kind of stuff to see. Manganese vein I don't need. Quartz vein, I definitely need a quartz vein. Redstone, copper, iron, beryllium, so we get an actual emerald vein instead of those one-off emeralds that you can get. Electrotine, which we will be making use of in the future. Tetrahedrite, which we need. There's the stibnite comes out of tetrahedrite, and then just a plain nether quartz vein as opposed to the quartz vein. So yeah, there's a few veins in the nether that we will be looking for. We'll also be running around keeping our eyes peeled for the gallium, the small gallium ores, because we'll need those to get into our circuits. So yeah, lots of fun to be had in the nether, but again, I want to prep a little bit. I would like to make some iron armor, get some better weapons up, and that way I'll have them in my inventory. It would be nice to complete the glider wings for exploration, not necessarily in the nether, but at least out here in the overworld. So yeah, lots of stuff that we can do to prepare ourselves. So I'm going to take the time, use some of this steel now that I've completed that first quest, build up our other two smelters, or sorry, brick blast furnaces, and get those guys going with more steel, and then we'll bring you back in. I'm going to go ahead and get the cooking area done now that I have steel. I can make the flint and steel, and I might end up making that charcoal pyre multi-block. We'll see. Alamite pickaxe, and then we basically have our 4x BBF done. So yeah, I'm going to go away. I'm going to get a few more of these quests. I'm going to try and get enough silver. I would like to make a second simple boiler, and then it would be fun to make the HP boiler. That way that we get a little more steam without having to use coal. And that might get us, that'll get us somewhat close to having LV at that point. I'll probably still end up doing some more of that before we start looking at the Railcraft steam boilers. So yeah, I'll bring you guys back in once I'm ready to make a little more progress. Some of these annoying quests I'm just going to do, like when it comes to fishing, farming and stuff, the food stuff. Yeah, so we'll see you back here in a bit. Well, here we are at the end of today's episode. I built my nether portal right there. As you can see from what I talked about, I put this ethereal glass here. I can walk on it, but mobs can't. They'll fall down, die on punji spikes. I had one pigman already fall down there and die. I have been working on lots of steel, but I don't have any on me at the moment. I've got enough for, what is that? That's, I think I've got 80 steel ready to go in there. I went ahead and made the ultra low voltage fluid tank, which as you can see, and whoops, I don't have my sleeping bag with me. So it does retain its fluids. You can break it and bring it back up. So that's what I did. And then you can see I also extended the house. So I now have this larger area where I've put all of my cooking stuff along one wall to include making the cooking table, which can then tell me what foods I can make with the materials I have on hand. I can make, you know, a hot dog, I can make chili, I can cook various foods and things. I've got 3 of the Pam's kitchen utensils there with the cooking oven. I have not put anything in the cooking oven, yeah, so I've been working away on stuff. Reorganized just this little bit right here, moved the oven here, moved some of my chests over there, put a bunch of the magic stuff up here above the rest of my plants. I did make a filing cabinet. Sorry for the noise. I did make a filing cabinet for the for all the seeds. Sorry, pardon me. And if we take a look at my checklist, I did the 4x brick blast furnace. I made a flint and steel, and then I went ahead and made the charcoal pile, and it's sitting out there. I can show you in just a bit. I did upgrade one of my pickaxes with alumite, but I have not worked on the experience in order to get it to where it can actually mine ardite. Right now it's still sitting at redstone. This is, of course, the cooking area, and then I have 3 different backpacks and some armor, and of course the filing cabinet. So let's go ahead and slap that thing back up there, and I can show you guys right here. I have a digger's backpack, I have a miner's backpack, and I've got the regular backpack. I also went ahead and made the wooden crossbow with a couple of different bolts. I also have made a steel lumber axe. That's what I use to chop down the trees outside. Makes it nice and easy to deal with all of the trees. And then in here, I've got a stack and a half of steel. I've just been grinding on steel basically non-stop until I could get all these various steel things made. And then the last thing, I need to pull that out because I am currently grinding up as much stuff as I can in order to make as much iron as I can. If I look in this chest right here, I have a ton of stuff for Charcoal Pyre, a little bit of ground cassiterite. The rest of it I smelted down. So I've got 283 or just over 4 stacks, not quite 4.5 stacks of tin now available to me. So yeah, I'm going to work on letting that iron grind down, get it to refill my iron stocks. That was up above 300. It's now down below 150. Here's my nice little forest that I use my lumber axe to chop down. Of course, my little setup here, there is this ultra low voltage fluid tank. It does retain its fluids when broken, so I was using that. I went down there and got 32 buckets of lava, came back up here, and I've been using it to melt stuff down, and something died in there at some point or other. Here is the charcoal pyre, right there, the charcoal pile igniter. Just loaded up with a stack of wood. If you make the insides a 4x4x4, you can fit a full stack of wood in there, and then it'll just automatically kick off all by itself once I cover this up with dirt. So that makes it nice and quick. You get roughly 1.5 times the amount of charcoal as you put in wood, so it's a little bit better than your coke oven, other than the fact that you don't get any creosote. If you don't mind not getting creosote, so be it. That sound, I wanted to bring that up real quick. That sound is actually not this tree. I was originally going to put my nether portal right here beside the tree, and as soon as I dug down 2 spots, I found out that it's actually a loot game right under there that is making all of that noise. So I have not blocked off the water yet in order to go down there to run the loot game, but I marked it just so that I would remember that, hey, I've got a loot game I'm literally right on top of here that we can maybe do in the next episode. So yeah, that is everything that I covered. If we take a look at all of this stuff, filing cabinet, ultra low voltage tank. Oh, I did make a watering can to help get more cotton because I needed a lot of cotton for one of the other quests that I was working on. But I made the flint and steel. I made the charcoal thing. Over here, I think I was just accepting rewards. I didn't really make anything here other than the backpacks. So that was that. Over on the fishing, farming, and cooking, you can see I have done a little bit more. I made the flour, the dough, and our first homemade bread. And then I was getting around to a couple other things, trying to make some better foods. And then, of course, here on the cooking for blockheads, everything except the kitchen floor and the tool rack are done for that quest. Getting around without dying, I made a bunch of armor molds. I guess I didn't talk about that really. I made these molds here: casing, gear, ingot, ball, nugget, block, and then I also made the 4 armor molds here just to complete that side quest there. I am thinking about making this quest, getting this quest done so I have upgraded armor. It just is brand new armor. And then once I have that made, I can use the steel chest plate, make a leather tunic, and then some advanced alloy, and I can make a composite vest to get some additional protection there. I did make the base shield there. I do not have the leather to make the next shield up. And otherwise, crossbow bolts, that guy. I do have, not on me. I do have over here 8 of the reinforced large plates that I am going to put onto this steel pickaxe soon. The reason my inventory was basically empty was because I was actually looking at making a trip to the nether soon, and I didn't want to bring anything with me other than maybe a couple of stacks of cobble and some torches in order to get in, protect my spawn area, mark it as home, and then get out. So we'll probably be doing that basically at the start of the next episode. So yeah, that's everything that we have going on for today. Lots and lots of materials getting processed, with our semi-automated processor. The rest of the time I'm just around here either chopping down wood to get charcoal to then stick in the compressor to make steel, or I was, working on some of these individual items around here just so that we have a nice, decent setup in order to continue progressing a little bit later. So yeah, that is everything that is going on. I guess technically I could make a steam grinder, but not sure if I want to do that or if I just want to leave that part of GT++ alone. But I am still working towards this 4 stacks of steel for completing that quest and getting 2 stacks of coal coke out of it. And not sure, maybe just some more steel after I finish it. But yeah, we will see you guys in the next episode where we will begin tackling the nether. I'm not wearing it. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? Did I put it in the wrong place? I did put it in the wrong place. That should be there. Alright, well, and there's my armor. I have full iron armor. I have beat up a couple of mobs. Didn't die, though. That's why I've got the 15 lives. But, yeah. So we'll see you guys in the next episode, tackling the nether, getting a little further into steel, and progressing our way towards low voltage. Till then.